Aloha e malama pono. Today we're going to take Father Boniface Sakala from Zambia, Africa on his first Hawaiian driving lesson. Oh yeah. Aloha e malama pono. So here we are, we're going to work on driving. So one of the first things we want to think about is that when you're driving an automobile, it's like you're piloting an aircraft or you're the captain of a ship.
Okay.
So before your plane could take off, you would have to make sure that everything was good, that it was safe, because once you're in the air, it would be difficult. Before your ship could leave the shore, if you were the captain of a boat, you'd have to make sure that all of your passengers were safely there and everything was ready before you would leave the shore. So when we get into the vehicle, one of the first things we do, of course, is the belt and adjust the seat so that you're in a good position for control of the automobile.
Yes.
Then, before we do anything else, we want to check our surroundings. So think about awareness. And a drill would be as if you are praying, you put your hands together, and then while you get the big picture in front of you, see how far you can see your hand as it comes to the side. And then come back, and then do the other side. And then scan all of your information. You have your rear view mirror, you have your side mirrors, you have your view that you would be able to see if you turn your head a little bit to look over your shoulder in either direction. You want to get as much information as possible, almost as if you were in an aircraft or a boat where you'd have to think 360 degrees, not just around you, but above you and below you. You want to have that full picture. The 1 minute that it takes to get all of this understanding in the beginning can make your life much less stressful as you drive. So if you make it a habit and always just have that moment of peace before you start, it can be very helpful. So once you're all set and you have your hands at that 10 and 2 position on the wheel, then you can put the ignition. Always put your foot on the brake first and make sure that you're in park on an automatic or neutral in a stick shift, and that your brake is on. Then you can start the vehicle. Undo the handbrake first. A lot of people accidentally start driving with their handbrake on and they don't understand why the brake light is on, okay? Then before we shift, we're going to do a check. So we can check the rear view mirror, we can check the side mirrors. Most vehicles, once you shift into reverse, most modern vehicles have a screen, but you don't want to depend on the electronics. You want to also rely on what God gave you in terms of your own awareness with your eyes and your brain.
Have 360 degrees nicely.
Absolutely, yes. So then now we're going to shift into reverse. We're going to look over our shoulder to make sure, and then we're going to slowly direct the vehicle. And we always want to be equal parts gentle and calm and courteous, right, on one hand, but also very confident and clear on the other, so that other drivers have a very definite understanding of what we're going to do. And that awareness also translates to having a consciousness of all the possibilities that can happen. You have to remember that even if you're being very careful, other drivers might be using their phones, or they might be looking at kittens and puppies crossing the road, or they might be eating their breakfast or their lunch or their dinner while they're driving. So you want to be always conscious that other people might be doing all of these things, right? And so you always want to be coming from a place of love and courage, and never any anger or fear, because those feelings will translate to everyone else that you share the road with.
All right.
So here, as we carefully leave the parking lot,
We stop first here.
yes, we're going to pause and stop and know the orientation of your wheel as you do so. And when you look both ways, it doesn't tell you all the information. So you're going to have to ease out a little bit,
Yes,
because parked cars can obscure your view.
Okay,
Right?
so you ease up a bit. that you shouldn't enter.
And then before we enter, we're going to make sure that we turn on our turn signal so that our action is confidently and clearly communicated,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
confident, clear communication to other drivers, while at the same time always having the disposition of being calm and gentle in our understanding. So now we're going to put on our signal and gently shift over. And even though we're at a light, you can't depend on the light. You have to pay attention and make sure. See, this other fellow doesn't have his signal on, but he is turning. So we're going to ease before we actually go for it. And then when it's safe, we can complete our turn and enter the intersection. Always be aware of the position of parked cars, because when you see a car like this one on the left, it can block the view of a pedestrian.
Yes.
So you have to anticipate that someone might be crossing the street
Or you
and
may
be
open
ready.
the door.
Yes, or they may open the door. So you want to be ready for the unexpected, right? So in that sense, like self-defense, like martial arts, the more precognition you have, the more pre-contact cues you have, the more ahead of a problem that you are, the less likely that you will actually face it. So be aware of that, and then also be aware of the concept that you want to be the eye of the storm. So whatever is going around on you like a hurricane, you want to be at the center of that in that state of calm awareness. And notice where our position is in the lane, that we're never too close to the parked cars on the right.
You're never,
And we're also cognizant of where the lines are, so that we can maintain our position safely and also leave ourselves an out, meaning that if something unexpected happens, we've created the room on either side of our vehicle to be able to make those adjustments. So here we are, we're coming up to a potential crosswalk, so we want to slow down. There's no stop sign, so we don't have to stop, but we do want to have that extra level of awareness and anticipation.
Because we're in the school zone now.
Yes, we're in a school zone, and at this time it's unlikely there would be children passing the road, but you never know. So
You never know, there might be one who is sick.
yeah, you never know. There's always a different possibility. So now we have cones and a crosswalk, and even though there's not a stop sign, since we are at the school and there's no one coming up behind us, it is a good idea for us to pause and just make sure.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's okay to do, even though there's not a stop sign. It doesn't mean you don't want to make sure. Okay? So again, here we are, parked cars on the right, leaving enough space in case someone opens a door or suddenly turns in to the lane without warning, without turning on their signal. So all of these little details are helpful.
Very important, and I'm blessed to have them, because most of the drivers they don't share this, just give you the car, you move, which is not good. In fact, now I'll be walking on this now.
Yes.
Walking in the evening, because I'm supposed to do exercises every day according to the doctor.
And remember what I said about, like, if you're in an aircraft or a boat, where you also have to be conscious of what's above you and below you? Well, on the road, there's often potholes or deviations in the concrete, right? And so when that happens, you want to avoid those kinds of things if possible. Sometimes also there's a package or something that fell out of a vehicle on the road, and you want to avoid running over those if possible. Also, sometimes there's low overhanging trees or things that could potentially fall. And so having that awareness above and below is helpful, as well as, even though we're going forward, we want to constantly check all of our mirrors and our peripheral vision to always maintain a big picture and have that opportunity, if we need it, to always have an out where we have an avenue to be able to avoid a dangerous situation if we need to. So that concept's especially critical, especially here we have changes in light where it's shade and then it's sunny and then it's shade and then it's sunny, and you want to allow your eyes to be able to adjust to changes in conditions, especially if because of weather those conditions become more difficult. The extra small amount of care it takes to have a greater level of awareness will save you someday. It'll save you from one day having a problem, and you will be grateful that you took the extra moment in the beginning to get your basics down. Just like in martial arts, when we learn how to fall, we do all these things. Well, in martial arts, most people don't really get in that many fights, but they do probably fall down sometime in their life. And so because of this, those beginning basics of learning how to be a courteous and respectful, good person, as well as knowing how to fall safely, come in handy long before there's an accident, long before something might happen, so that if something does happen, then it's not so bad for you.
Okay.
So now it's your turn, Father.
Okay.
So first of all, check the seat, make sure it's good for you. Check the view in the mirrors, make sure you can see everything. When you do the belt, sometimes it sticks a little bit, so you want to provide slack. And then make sure your door's closed all the way when we close the door. There you go.
Okay.
Now, before you do anything else, you got to turn the handbrake off. Then keep your foot on the brake and shift into reverse. Yes, look over your shoulder, make sure you're good. And then you're going to gently, hand over hand, turn the wheel to the right so that you back out. There you go. Nice and easy, nice and easy. Let the truck do it by itself. You don't have to do too much gas or braking.
Okay.
Okay, good. Hand over hand. Slow down your pattern. And not too much gas, because you're going to pause here anyway. So just ease up on it. Just ease up on it. Okay. Now gently go up to where the curb is. You can see where the parked cars is. There's a truck coming. After this truck, turn on your light. Turn on your signal light. And then gently ease into the lane, but do so confidently and clearly. Don't wait too long, because other drivers can see the signal and they're anticipating you coming into the lane. But if you don't do so, then they think you're not really going to do it, and then they speed up. Okay, go into the left lane. And you have a green light, but you still want to not go too quickly. Go ahead and ease in. But you see the bus coming towards us? Now the bus is going into the turn lane, so you're okay. So keep going. There we go. Very good. Nice and easy on the gas. Try to be just smooth and steady so that the ride for your passengers is smooth, but also so that everyone else that sees you sees that sure-footed, calm, confident, clear driving, right? If you are on and off with the gas or on and off with the brake, it makes you look indecisive and confusing and possibly threatening to other drivers. It also makes it look like you might not be safe, which could get you pulled over, and because a police officer might wonder if you're okay, or maybe you had a little bit too much to drink, or maybe you're too tired. So you want to be very sure-footed.
Yeah, that you are so good.
And here we are in the school zone again. So we're going uphill though, so you don't want to be too unsteady on your controls. You want to be clear again. Okay, good. Keep steady now, keep steady. If you pause going uphill where all these parked cars are, the cars behind you think that you're going to park. So you do want to communicate clearly to other drivers. Here we have a crosswalk. There's no one here, but we do want to be careful. Good.
In case somebody comes running.
Yes, just in case someone comes running. And good, you're doing a pretty good job of staying in a good position in the lane where you have enough room to your left before the center divisor, and you also have enough room on your right in case someone opens a door or leaves their parking spot, and that's important too. Okay, here we have the school zone crosswalk. You do want to be careful because the last parked car makes it hard to see. Okay, very good, and continue on. Very good. Nice and steady. Keeping those hands at 10 and 2. Very good. Keeping an eye on the road where there might be irregularities in the street. And that
Here
can,
the road goes
yes,
zigzag.
very good. And also where trees are over, you might be going under an avocado tree and have a sudden surprise of a thunk. So you want to be careful about that too.
I advise up and down in case there's something. You have to be in control of up and down.
Yes, very consistent, clear, confident communication always as you progress
Here the pothole
on your
as we're
journey.
talking.
Yes, you have a bus coming. The bus is communicating that he is turning, but
I
the
need to
vehicle
wait for it.
behind it doesn't have a signal. So ease in, so the bus is now making it safe for you. But notice that the car behind it does not have a signal. Okay, now it does, it's turning. Go ahead, start moving. This vehicle is not turning, so let it go. And now you go. Confident and clear, very good. So we want to be careful here, but fortunately the cars are far away from the crosswalk, so we're good to go. We do have a large vehicle on the right. We want to steer clear of that.
There's a man walking with a child.
Yes, always good to have that awareness. You never know what might happen with anyone around you.
I've liked your awareness advice. This is a golden rule. A lot of accidents happen because of not being aware.
Amen. And the timing of the signal is important. You don't want to signal too soon if there's another driveway, because then people think you're going to turn there. You always want to turn when it's super clear to everyone else when you're going to go and where your intended turn will be. And nicely done on the parking. Shift it, put your foot on the brake, all the way into park. Put the handbrake on, take your foot gently off, and turn the ignition.
Okay. Yeah, this part is important. You can fail in the end.
Yes, you want to make sure you're fully stopped
Okay.
before you do anything else.
Okay.
And say, now you're safe and you're good to go,
Yeah.
and you've successfully completed your first lesson actually driving.
Thank you.
Awesomeness.
Okay.